explosive training workouts or your plyometric workouts aren't giving you the results that you're looking for, like you literally just haven't seen any progress, it's probably because you're making one or multiple of these 3 mistakes that I'm about to break down in this video for you so you can get the most out of your training to become a more explosive athlete. What's up, I'm Nick Lyden, I'm a certified strength and conditioning coach. Welcome back to my channel if you're a subscriber, and if not, and if you want some more athletic training videos to help you perform better, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But let's get right into it. The first mistake that I see with athletes performing plyometrics, and typically it's a little bit more novice athletes or people who just aren't as comfortable with their plyometric or power-based training, is that they have poor form, but specifically poor execution of the movement. And there's a couple of reasons why, when having poor form or poor execution of, say, a jump, it will negatively impact your overall jump height or performance. So when we're doing this, the last thing we want, when we're trying to be explosive, the last thing we want to do is be slow. We do not want to be slow. We want to be fast. Everything we want to do is fast, powerful, explosive, and how we perform the movements should be exactly how we want to get, right? If we want to be faster, we want to be more powerful, we want to jump higher, we need to move very quickly and very explosively, okay? Because what happens when we have a slow eccentric, okay? So a slow eccentric. Now, if we don't know what eccentric, concentric, and isometric are, they're the different type of muscle actions. So think eccentric is when a muscle is lengthening under tension, and concentric is when it is contracting, right, and producing movement, okay? And then isometric is contracting, no movement, okay? Now, when we have a slow eccentric, okay, it's like you're going down into a jump, but you're taking a very long time, or you're doing, say, a hang power clean, and you're taking your sweet ass time to get all the way down, right? What happens is that this turns down the amount of energy that we can basically steal from our tendons to be released for increased force output, okay? So there's something called the stretch-shorten cycle. And what the stretch-shorten cycle is when there is a rapid lengthening of a muscle followed by a contraction, we essentially get some free energy from the tendons as they naturally want to bounce back and come back into play, okay? So think on the eccentric, when we go down really quickly, right, there's a rapid eccentric loading of the hips, we get that stretch-shorten cycle to kick into play to get more force added on up. But when we go down very slow into that jump, all of that potential energy that we were going to create and to be able to use gets dissipated as heat, and we don't get to use it to aid our actual jump performance, okay? So all the potential energy that we were going to create is gone. Same thing for like snap down bullshit. Snap down. When you wait, it's gone. Okay, we want to go down and up really quickly to take care of that, or to utilize that stretch-shorten cycle. And one thing I want you to do, like after you watch this, literally pause this video and do it, is I want you to do 3 different counter movement jumps, okay? So hands on hips. The first one, and if you can, get a little marker so you can see how high you jump, this is even better. Go down to your natural kind of squat or jump positioning that you would go to, say if you're gonna go try to, dunk a basketball, right? Hands on hips, go down to that position and hold that position for 5-10 seconds. Just hold it. And then jump up as high as you can, only using your legs, okay? And just notice how high you jump. You can do 2-3 reps, then go into a 5-second eccentric, okay? So now you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nice and slow, and then try to jump up. Notice how high you jump, okay? And the last one, just do a normal jump, being quick, being powerful, being explosive, rapid eccentric, rapid concentric, rapid loading, try to jump as high as you can, and then notice how high you get, right? That is gonna give you a very good understanding of how your stretch-shorten cycle actually helps you produce more energy, right? And produce more force, okay? Because if there's one thing about being powerful and being explosive and actually training it to get a stimulus to be able to get an adaptation, which is the results that you want, is that with power training, you have to be within a 5% kind of margin of your best performance in order to elicit that adaptation. Your body needs a very high threshold and a very high stimulus to tell it, hey, oh shit, like we need to get more powerful, or we need to jump higher, or we need to sprint faster, okay? So it needs that stimulus, and it needs that stimulus to progressively overload. But if you're always, maybe messing up on going very slow, you're never gonna hit that top potential that you're looking for in order to make that adaptations. Now, some of the coaches out there who maybe be like, well, static is good for the, yes, static can have a purely muscle-driven effect for rate of force development, but that's a little bit beyond this video, okay? The next mistake is not enough rest. I don't know why so many people and so many coaches, power training is completely different than other, like hypertrophy training is completely different than any sort of conditioning, but somehow we end up like bastardizing it and making it into some sort of conditioning, like we're gonna do 15 rounds of 10 box jumps into 3 broad jumps into these, skater jumps, right? And we turn it into this like conditioning thing. Great, awesome for conditioning, but you're not getting more powerful. You're not developing your explosiveness with that because there's not enough rest, and there's too much volume, which we'll cover here in a sec, right? When we don't get enough rest in between our sets and in between our jumps, one, we use that energy, so we have low ATP availability to use for the muscles to actually contract at a very fast rate and produce a lot of force. Plus, we're fatiguing with those jumps that we're doing. Those are fatiguing your central nervous system. And with power, right, and being explosive, we need to have a very fresh central nervous system so it can send the signals to our muscles to contract very quickly. Okay. And not enough rest, again, it's gonna lead to that poor performance, not hitting that, within that 5% error margin that we talk about to elicit the adaptations, which means no gains, okay? The next one is kind of, I touched on it a little bit, it's focusing on quality over quantity. I don't know how many programs I've seen from athletes where it's 3 sets of 20 box jumps, or 15 of these skater jumps, or it's 25 broad jumps or something like that. And it's just way too much volume. It is just way too much volume because after about the 4th, 5th rep, guess what happens? You get fatigued, you have low ATP availability, your CNS starts to go down, you start to get poor performance, right? And then we're no longer within that 5% kind of error margin to get better and better results, right? To get the adaptation that we're looking for. And you get technique breakdown and put yourself at a greater risk for injury, and there's just constant overuse of that actually like high impact stimulus that could potentially cause some joint stress. So how do you fix this? How do we take these mistakes and actually make it into a program or into some guidelines for you to get the most out of your training when training with plyometrics? And this is all applied to any power-based stuff, so like trap bar jumps, loaded jumps, hang power cleans, this all applies for this as well. So what you want to do is have a fast eccentric within reason that you can actually control. So fast eccentric into an explosive concentric. So you have a very short, what's called amerization phase, which is the brief time from eccentric to concentric, okay? So very quick, whether it's jumps, hang cleans, anything like that, fast eccentric, be explosive out of the hole, okay? Now, not enough rest. This one's very simple. Rest more, okay? Typically we recommend 3 to 5 minutes, okay? 3 to 5 minutes. So you can actually, and it's gonna be boring. Power and to like top speed training are fun. They're great in the moment, but they're boring as well because you just have to rest longer, okay? But if you want the results, I would highly recommend it. And if you're not getting the results, it could be because of this. And then focus on quality over quantity. So with the reps, 3 to 5 reps. And a lot of the times, what I tell our athletes, whether it's top speed sprints or broad jumps, when we're measuring them, or vertical jumps when we're measuring them, if you have 2 consecutive jumps that are lower than your best in that set, cut it, okay? So if you broad jump 8 feet the first one, then you broad jump 8 feet 6 inches, great, that's 8 feet 6 inches. Then you go to your next one and it's 8 feet 4 inches, and you're like, oh damn. And then you go again, and then you hit like a 7-9 because you're tired and you didn't take enough rest. Cut it, okay? Keep going if you can continue or be within that kind of 5% error margin, and the same thing applies for speed. So these are the mistakes I see a lot happening with plyometric work, especially with, you know, like the CrossFit community, but we'll stay off of that, and how to fix them. So if you like this video, please make sure to like, comment any of your questions down below. And if you're looking for a full training program that covers strength, speed, power, conditioning, mobility, check out the Peak Performance program down below, and I'll see you on the inside.